Alright guys, Delzinski here, and last night I watched WWE Night of Champions 2014. Yes, I watched it live, and I was live tweeting with each and every one of you, and if you don't follow me already on Twitter, be sure to head over there and go to @Delzinski and hit that follow button. It's the best way to interact with me when the pay-per-views are on, and Raw and SmackDown. Anytime I get an opportunity to watch them live, I love interacting with you guys, so make sure you do follow me @Delzinski on Twitter. Now, what did I think of Night of Champions? Well, I'm going to review the whole pay-per-view, so each match breakdown, and then I'm going to give you my views and also refer back to We Talk, where I gave you my predictions of the event. And we will follow this up, and we will talk more about Night of Champions with Weeds on Wednesday with We Talk. But I thought, it's fresh on the mind. Let's do a review today. So, the first match of the evening was Goldust and Stardust versus the Usos for the WWE Tag Team Championship. And I'd predicted on We Talk that we would crown new Tag Team Champions, and I was spot on. First prediction of the evening, correct, because we did, and Goldust and Stardust have now been crowned the new WWE World Tag Team Champions. And I thought this was a great start to the pay-per-view, because what I liked about this was it gave an indication that we were going to see some title changes, because later on in this pay-per-view I felt that we would see more, and I was wrong on a couple of them, but it gave the impression that this was going to be one of those nights where quite a few title changes would be made, and having Goldust and Stardust pick up the belts early maybe set that bar of that level. Now, the match as a whole was a good match. I like the aggressive side of Goldust and Stardust. I always feel with characters that are a little bit bizarre that they have to have that mean streak in them, and Goldust and Stardust most definitely do. Now, I do think at some point these two are going to split up and ultimately turn on each other and have that brother versus brother feud, which we've all been expecting for some time. But I think at the moment, the title change was definitely worthwhile, because the Usos had lost their momentum. Their tag team reign had got a bit stale, but the match overall was a great match to kickstart a pay-per-view, because one of the spots for me, which was a highlight, was just before the Usos did the dive over the top rope, Goldust doing that cannonball dive off the apron. Whew! How amazing has Goldust got over the years? I mean, he's better now than he was back in his heyday, and I don't know what he's been taking to do that, but he has just come on leaps and bounds. And I think of the days of when he was in TNA as Black Rain, and now looking at this version of Goldust, a much slimline and fitter Goldust, and I think he's all the better for it. And him and Cody Rhodes are going to make a very interesting set of tag team champions. So this first match for me was definitely a good start to the pay-per-view, and I was very happy to see the crowning of new tag team champions. Let's move on to the next match, and it's Sheamus versus Cesaro with the United States Championship on the line. Now, my prediction in this one was a new United States champion with Cesaro, and I was wrong, unfortunately, but I would say that this was one of the best matches on the card. I expected this to be a good one. I expected it to be physical. I expected the two to literally knock lumps out of each other. I don't know how many times I've said that between Cesaro and Sheamus in their feuds, but they literally do it every single time. This was such a physical match. And, for a moment, I actually thought we were going to see a UFO in this match. When Cesaro had Sheamus up on his shoulders, I thought we were going to see the spin. And if you know what a UFO is, then hit that like button, because it is one of an awesome move that Cesaro used to do prior to being in WWE. I thought we were going to see it, but we didn't. And then Sheamus was victorious. Now, it kind of took me by surprise the way that Sheamus nailed that big kick, that bro kick out the corner. I just didn't see that coming. But but I really thought Cesaro had a good showing, and a lot of people were disappointed that Cesaro was not crowned the new United States champion, but I think this feud can continue and keep going. I don't think this is the end of the Cesaro-Sheamus feud. I hope it's not, because I really like this rivalry, and I think it gives a lot of credibility to the United States Championship, having a feud between two guys that are very physical, very aggressive, and every time they seem to step into the ring, it gets more and more physical each time they do it. So I think that this was a good way to re-establish Cesaro. I'm not sure what's going on with the old towel over the head and the robe, and he kind of looked a little bit like Lord Tensai or Taz. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on there. He's being repackaged again, but yeah, either way, I really did enjoy this match, and I don't think it was a big deal at the end of the day. They both put on a good show. And that was the main thing about this match. If Sheamus had just destroyed Cesaro, then I wouldn't have approved of that. And that definitely didn't happen. A good show from Cesaro, and hopefully these two meet later on and Cesaro will capture the gold. So the next match of the evening, The Miz with Damien Mizdow, yes, and versus Dolph Ziggler and R. Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, my issue with this match is not so much the match itself. It was the commentary team during this match. I mean, how much longer are we going to have to put up with this? How much longer are we going to have to put up with JBL just talking utter garbage during pay-per-views? I mean, we had, I'm not even sure who these people are because I'm from the UK, so I'm not well known to this band that came out. But all I can say is that one of them looked like a skinny Chris Jericho, and they had no business being at ringside to commentate on this match. And what it did was it took the focus off of The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, which for me was going to be a really good match. The Miz has come on a long way since his days of when he was the world champion and nobody really gave him any respect at all. I like the Hollywood Miz gimmick, and I like Damien Sandow being paired up with him. It's about time the WWE did something constructive with Sandow. So that's all good for me, having The Miz challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. And this back and forth between him and Dolph Ziggler, I think, has a long way to go. Now, I predicted a Dolph Ziggler retaining the Intercontinental Championship, and again, I was wrong. But I think it would have been better if Ziggler had retained, because this seems to be the case with Dolph Ziggler. He gets a push and then WWE take it back. I don't think it's done yet, because I think that this feud has a long way to go. So I feel that Ziggler's push is not over, and again, we may see the titles change hands at the next pay-per-view. But again, I didn't really think it was right to take the belt straight off Ziggler this soon. In reference to R. Ziggler, kind of pointless being there. I mean, he did chase off Sandow, but he didn't do a very good job because Sandow or Mizdow came back and ultimately cost Ziggler the match. But overall, the match again was good, but the commentary team ruined it. And, what is the job of the commentary team? A primary job is to call the match and, put over the match. JR used to do it perfectly. Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, JBL just don't seem to be able to do this anymore. They seem to be too busy promoting 9.99s or promoting bands that have come out as special. I don't even know. They just came out to promote their album, and I thought that was pretty sad. Mount Dew promoting that. I mean, come on. Come on, WWE. Wake up. This is not good for your product. Yes, it's advertising, but you can advertise it in better means than just keep ramming it down our throat. We don't buy into that anymore. It's not the way to do things, and the commentary team need to wake up and start calling the matches, because that's what they're paid to do. Joey Styles, please come back. Someone like that who calls the moves. JR, please come back. Heyman, get on commentary. Just somebody with a bit of credibility. How about let's just move that NXT commentary team onto the main show? So yes, the commentary team I found very frustrating, and I think they definitely devalued The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, which was a good match. So I got that prediction wrong, so let's move on to the next one. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns unfortunately got injured, and it sounds like he's going to be out for a very significant amount of time now. I didn't actually think it was this long. Several months has been scheduled. So, I mean, my prediction had gone out the window because this match was off, and Seth Rollins was looking for an opponent. And guess who came back? And I mean, I kind of thought to myself, maybe Dean Ambrose will come back. Maybe they'll get him in just for this night. And they did. They came through with the goods, WWE, so fair play to WWE for doing that, because I think the only guy that was worth bringing back was indeed Dean Ambrose. The issue here was that Seth Rollins did put on the line his Money in the Bank briefcase, and it was an open challenge, and I'm pretty confident he did offer that briefcase to be on the line, and Dean Ambrose came out. And what I would have liked to have seen is Dean Ambrose accept that challenge as opposed to brawling all over the arena. And, you know, this led to nothing, really. It was nice to see Ambrose come back, but what would have been better is he had thrown him in the ring, got the bell rung, and tried to take that briefcase off of Seth Rollins. Whether or not Triple H interfered at that point, that would have been fine. But I thought that because Rollins had offered that, we would have got that, and we didn't. We just got a bit of a brawl, and then, you know, Dean Ambrose escorted out of the building. Fair play to Dean Ambrose. I mean, he really is an excitable character, and I think he's one of the big names. Look, Seth Rollins as well, one of the big names for the future. It's very exciting when these guys are about, and I think when you look at these guys being the future, it's very bright for the WWE. It's just unfortunate that the WWE don't seem to want to put them to that very top level and, you know, make sure they cement themselves there, because they do go back to guys like John Cena every time they get a little bit worried. So, obviously, it was a no contest, and Seth Rollins won by forfeit. A nice promo, maybe a little bit too long for a pay-per-view, but either way, good to see Dean Ambrose back, even if it is just for one night. I expect Ambrose to still be off TV moving forward. Next up, Rusev versus Mark Henry, and Rusev getting the win. I predicted Rusev to get the victory, albeit that I wanted Mark Henry to actually put on a good contest, and I was thoroughly disappointed. This match was terrible. This match wasn't good at all, and from having the feud with Jack Swagger, which was a good match, very enjoyed that. And actually the build to this match was very good with Mark Henry, into the point that it got given a main event spot on Raw in the final segment. It was all working really well. I mean, the crying of the national anthem, not sure about there. Lillian Garcia singing, there's only so much the Patriotics can do. But the match overall was the biggest problem here. It just didn't feel like there was any sort of rhythm to this match. There didn't feel like there was any chemistry. Mark Henry was struggling. Rusev couldn't even put him in that camel clutch finisher. It just felt wrong. Lana didn't really have a lot of involvement, and we always expect Lana to, considering that she's a massive influence on Rusev. Just really lackluster, and it felt almost as such a bit of a squash match because Mark Henry didn't even get going. And I actually thought in the build up to this, Mark Henry would push Rusev to the limit, but it just never happened and it never got anywhere. And again, Rusev is victorious. So where does Rusev go from here? I don't know at the moment. I think there's only so far you can go with all this patriotic stuff until you bring in somebody that's really credible. And springs to mind to me is someone that went out of contract recently, which was Kurt Angle. How awesome would it be to bring back Kurt Angle? Hit that like button if you would like to see Kurt Angle versus Rusev down the line. If you're going to get someone who's going to beat Rusev and make him tap out, Kurt Angle's your man. Whether or not that'll happen, I don't know. But I think if they're going to keep going down this patriotic route, then you've got to lead to someone of that caliber to stop Rusev. And please, 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 don't let it be John Cena. Don't let John Cena break another guy, because that's what he does. So I was very disappointed in that match, and I'd have to say, in my opinion, probably one of the worst matches on this card. Next up, Randy Orton versus Chris Jericho, and I got this one right. Yes, I predicted a Randy Orton victory, and I was spot on again. And this match, at the beginning, I was thinking, I'm not really feeling this match. It was very slow paced. Took a while to get going, but when it did get going, it was really good. The code breaker out of nowhere, Orton going for the punt, the walls of Jericho, which I really enjoyed, that little moment where Orton was trying to get to the ropes, being dragged back, and Jericho looking like he was going to get the victory, and then a little bit predictable because it looked like Jericho was waiting for it, but that oh my god moment with that RKO off the top rope. Yes, I thought it was a very good match. It was slow paced. It took a while to get going, but with Orton and Jericho, you got two solid performers, and I think they did a very, very good job in the end to put this match over. Now, this is probably the last we're going to see of Chris Jericho for quite a while. He will be moving away, I think, going off to tour with Fozzy. But don't worry, because we had a guy that looked like Chris Jericho as colour commentator in the Miz and Dolph Ziggler match. So maybe he can replace him for a while. I don't know. Maybe that would give him a point to actually be on a WWE pay-per-view, because that skinny guy and that band were not worth having there. But, I'm going back to ranting about the commentary team, so I better calm down now. As I said, I thought it was a good match, just a bit slow on the off-take, but was happy to see Orton get a victory, because I think that there could be a reason to use Orton talking with Brock Lesnar later on. But we'll cover that when we get to the main event. Next up, before the main event itself, it was the Divas Championship on the line. AJ Lee, Paige, the champion, and Nikki Bella. I went for a Nikki Bella victory, not because I think Nikki Bella is the best wrestler or the best diva, just because it felt like something worthwhile, considering that you have been putting over Nikki Bella quite heavily recently, and you probably want to start a feud with Brie Bella, and you want that to maybe, light up here at a pay-per-view. And we didn't get any of that. I mean, is Nikki Bella even in a feud with Brie? Because before the match, we had a post-match interview with Brie Bella talking about how it would be a disaster for Nikki Bella to be crowned Divas champion. Now, this gave a little bit of planting the seed that possibly Brie was going to get involved in this match. She did nothing. What was the point? And I really thought that that would be maybe one of the best ways to maybe stop Nikki Bella capturing the gold, was have Brie come out, and that adds more fire to their feud, but it just didn't happen. Albeit, I'll give Nikki her due. She did put on a very good show. It was a very, very good performance by Nikki Bella, considering I don't necessarily rate her as a women's wrestler, but she did put on a good job. I think she put on maybe just as good a job as AJ and Paige did. Now, let's talk about AJ and Paige for a minute. This match was just creepy. It's weird, and a lot of people are Paige fans. I like Paige, but I don't like this, the way that they're doing this sort of obsessed Paige, which is obsessed with AJ Lee, and the whole kiss my hand thing during a match. No, the sort of screaming about how she is obsessed with AJ Lee. I just don't like it. What's the point of it? Why can't she just be a good women's wrestler? And this is the issue with WWE, where they try and tweak something that doesn't need tweaking, and they're doing it with Paige. I mean, she came in onto the main roster as, not very cocky and confident, And all of a sudden, now she's this arrogant, cocky, heel character out of nowhere who's now become obsessive and crazy, just like AJ Lee. It's all come out of nowhere. Now, as well, there was a title change in this match, and AJ Lee is now the new Divas champion, which again massively devalues Paige. It's very similar to The Miz and Dolph Ziggler in the fact that the title just keeps changing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How many times can you do that until it really devalues the title and you get to a stage like a John Cena who's bouncing around with like 15 times world champion to his name? Because not really credible championship reigns, just the fact that they have switched on multiple occasions. I like champions to have credible reigns, and it doesn't feel like WWE are doing a very good job of that at the moment. So AJ Lee's the new champion. There was CM Punk chants during the match. I think I tweeted about that, taking the mick a little bit, because somebody's got to say it. But I don't get why the WWE fans feel the need to chant CM Punk. Yes, AJ Lee is married to CM Punk, but no, he has a lawsuit against the WWE. He's trying to get removed from WWE 2K15. Yes, it's about his royalties. Yes, that's bad on WWE's behalf that maybe they did not pay him. But this guy is fighting against the WWE, a product that we all enjoy, or albeit get frustrated with in terms of the PG era. But he's fighting against that. So why chant his name? Show some support for the wrestlers that are in the ring. Show some support for the divas that are in the ring. There is no need. Let's get over that stage of chanting CM Punk for no apparent reason. Now, you know, maybe the best way to deal with this is to acknowledge it. Maybe it's about time someone hits a GTS. I did watch Tom Cushnie's review and he feels that Paige should do it, and I think Paige maybe has done this at a house show. I find it very interesting, this is going off subject, that Kenta has not used the GTS. Is this because of CM Punk chants? Why do we have to think that that's a problem in terms of this day and age? Kenta having a move that he established over CM Punk and, you know, is now no longer using that move because of CM Punk. Very annoying that CM Punk is causing such a problem inside the WWE. I think we should all just move on and continue to watch the product and support the wrestlers that are on the product and not people that have walked away. But that's just my view. And as I say, if WWE have ripped him off on royalties, then fair play to him for taking up that issue. But as fans, we should just move on and support the product. So, AJ Lee victorious. The belt dropped again. I can see this continuing a bit like the Miz and Ziggler, back and forth, back and forth. But what does this do for the Nikki Bella and Brie Bella feud? I don't know. No involvement from Brie whatsoever. Should have really got involved. Stephanie McMahon not heavily involved in this Night of Champions event, which is very strange considering she was putting over Nikki like $1 million, and she added her to this match to try and, you know, crown her the new champion. None of it seemed to work, so it all felt a bit fragmented. So, as I say, new champion, prediction wrong from my behalf. Moving on to the main event of the evening, the big one that we've all been looking forward to, that rematch between John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Now, I was very excited about this, and this was the reason why I stayed up and watched Night of Champions. I did not get to stay up and watch SummerSlam. I had work the next day, unfortunately, and I did not get to see live Brock Lesnar destroy John Cena. That is something I am very sad about, but I did watch the highlights. Now, this time round, did I expect Brock Lesnar to crush John Cena one more time? No. And the reason why I thought this was because the way that they had billed John Cena. You know, John Cena was coming back and he was billed to be stronger and more physical, more aggressive. And we did get that, and I expected that. And I also called having a AA to kick off the match straight away and Lesnar powering out at 1. I expected Lesnar not to sell that because, you know, I thought Lesnar is powerful. Lesnar is aggressive, and to be hit with that early, I wanted him to do what he did at SummerSlam, where he almost sat up and laughed at Cena. He didn't go that far, he just kicked out at 1. Now, this match, a lot of people are saying, well, it was very disappointing that it wasn't that crushing that everyone expected, like at SummerSlam, but I didn't expect that. I thought that Cena had to put on a bit of a show. I'm not for John Cena, again, being re-established as a heavyweight, so to speak. I didn't think they needed to do that. I wouldn't have minded Lesnar crushing him one more time because I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, but I felt that maybe they went a little bit overboard at SummerSlam because you've made Lesnar so powerful now, who can actually defeat him? So giving Cena that element to fight back here at Night of Champions definitely worked to give the rest of the roster an opportunity to think, okay, maybe we can get the better of Brock Lesnar. Because the first time around, it was like, look, if he can do that to John Cena, nobody is going to take that belt off Lesnar. So I expected Cena to have a better go this time, and he definitely did. 4 attitude adjustments. 4. Now, we can deem this as being Brock Lesnar becoming weak, or we can deem this as Brock Lesnar being a beast because he kicked out of 3 of them, and I'd hope that he would have kicked out of the 4th one if it wasn't for Seth Rollins interfering. Now, not many people kick out of 3 AAs, and Brock Lesnar did it, and 9 times out of 10 it looked like he was going to try and kick out at 1 or maybe 1.5, not even getting to 2. So, Lesnar, a lot of people think that he looked weak in this match. I didn't necessarily think that. I just think that John Cena had to be more aggressive and have more involvement in this match rather than just being destroyed. Now, the ultimate reason why I say that Lesnar didn't look weak overall is because Lesnar did ultimately stand tall at the end of this pay-per-view, and he got up and he F5'd John Cena at the end of the pay-per-view after receiving 4 AAs. So, the beast is still alive and he's still standing tall. Now, the biggest shock moment of the main event was, of course, the inclusion of Mr. Money in the Bank himself, Seth Rollins, where we all thought he was going to cash in. This ending has not really gone down too well with some of the WWE community, and some people think it's good that Rollins is now getting involved in that main event picture. But this is my view on it. A pay-per-view, you don't really have screwy endings. That's just my feeling. I like to see clean victories, and I think that yes, maybe Rollins could have been involved in this, but I still expected Lesnar to get the victory clean. That was important. That needed to be done to show that Lesnar is a powerful champion, and it wasn't just a one-off. Lesnar can still get the job done, albeit that Cena had more strength in this one, more power, more aggression, more passion. Lesnar still won cleanly. And that's the bit that's very disappointing because he didn't, and we got John Cena victory via disqualification. Now, that's kind of annoying. It wouldn't have been annoying if Seth Rollins had cashed in, but as he was about to cash in, John Cena stopped him, and, we all thought he was cashing in because he did hit the, he literally took off Brock Lesnar's head with a curve stomp, and I thought that was the end then. I thought that was the end of Brock Lesnar's title reign, and we were going to see a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, cashing in, taking the belt back to the Authority, and then having an hellacious feud between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar and the Authority and Seth Rollins. That would have been kind of great to see unfold, but what actually happened was John Cena beat up Seth Rollins and stopped the cashing in, and then got back in the ring, got F5 by Lesnar. Lesnar stands tall, albeit losing to John Cena, and Seth Rollins didn't cash in. Now, where does this go from here? I've got a feeling we're going to see John Cena versus Seth Rollins, What I would have preferred to have seen is Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. I cannot believe that Lesnar's going to let that slide, taking that hit, and then, just moving on. Who's going to feud with Brock Lesnar after this pay-per-view? Because if it is going to be Cena and Rollins, then where does Lesnar go? A lot of talk that it's going to be Lesnar and Cena in a Hell in the Cell. Do we really want to see them go 3 times? I don't really mind, to be honest. I actually think that this was a good match. Some people hated this match, and some people thought it was okay. Apart from the ending, I thought it was a very good match. I liked that Cena was more involved. I think you couldn't just have Lesnar squash him again. It would have been predictable. So, match as a whole was pretty good up until that point. Now, as I say, maybe, just maybe, the Authority are going to start showing signs that they want to get that belt off of Brock Lesnar. Now, if Rollins is going to get in a feud with Cena, would this leave the door open for Triple H's whooping boy, Randy Orton, to step in and maybe fill those shoes and face Brock Lesnar? Because Orton's not got too much to do now. Jericho's gone. Could he be the guy that picks that up? No Roman Reigns about. And maybe we kick off this feud with the Authority and Lesnar. That is a feud that I'd very much like to see. I would love to see Lesnar take it to the Authority and try and bring down Triple H and Stephanie. Because if you're going to get anybody to bring it down, you might as well get the Beast incarnate himself. So guys, overall, the main event for me, it was a good match, but I was disappointed with the ending. I just don't like seeing a DQ, no contests, because they just don't really float my boat when it comes to a pay-per-view. I think you should have clean victories, and I still think that even though Lesnar didn't have a crushing over John Cena, I think Cena having the better of it, getting more involved this time round, it would have been best if Lesnar had won cleanly. Well, we may get another match at Hell in a Cell, so we'll just have to wait and see where the WWE goes from here. Whatever way, it definitely makes a very interesting Monday Night Raw. You can't doubt that, because there's a lot of outcome that came from Night of Champions. So guys, that's my review, and that's how I feel the matches went, and I want to get your views in the comments box below. Let me know what you think of WWE Night of Champions 2014. Did you agree with the title changes? For example, Goldust and Stardust, The Miz. Were you happy with the main event with John Cena being more involved this time? Would you have preferred to see Lesnar crush him one more time? What do you think's going on with AJ and Paige? Are you keen on that? I don't know. Where does Randy Orton go from here with Chris Jericho moving away, Roman Reigns out for several months, and Rusev? Who is the next patriotic guy to take on Rusev? Who is that gonna be? And Seth Rollins, will he now be picking up a feud with one John Cena? And if so, will John Cena put over Seth Rollins? Because please, please, please tell me that John Cena is not going to re-establish himself by going through Seth Rollins. Let me know via the comments box below. I want to get your views on all of it when it comes to Night of Champions. And this has been Delzinski's review of WWE Night of Champions 2014. So all that's left to be said is please rate, comment, and subscribe. And please do hit that like this button. Please do hit that like button. Don't know what I was talking about there. If you did enjoy this review, and if you want to hear more pay-per-view reviews from me, then like I say, hit that like button. That would be great. All that's left to be said, please rate, comment, and subscribe. This is Delzinski, signing out.